Eli Crowe's knees hit the dirt so hard his bones sang. You could hear it. That dull crack, right there in the street. Sheriff Braddock stood over him with a rifle pointed at Eli's face. Close, too close. The barrel looked like a dark hole that could swallow Eli whole. "Say it again," Braddock growled. "Tell me you don't have salt." Eli tasted blood. His lip was split. He didn't know when it happened. Maybe when Braddock's deputy shoved him down. Maybe when the townsman grabbed his shirt like Eli was a thief. Eli swallowed. "I don't," he said. "Not enough." "Liar," Braddock snapped. "Food's turning to slime. Meat's stinking in one day. Folks are starving. And you've been coming out of that mine with a calm face." Eli's eyes flicked to the wooden cart behind the sheriff. A sack lay on it. Open. The smell hit hard. Rot. Someone's bacon. Gone bad. Someone's last hope wasted. Before we continue the story, if you are new on my channel, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification icon so that you will be the first to be notified anytime I drop a new story. Let's continue. A woman cried near the cart. Her name was Mara Finch, 24, the storekeeper's daughter. Her cheeks were wet, and she held a small jar like it was a baby. "My mama's soup turned black," Mara whispered. "Black, Eli. Overnight." Eli's throat tightened, because he knew why. Salt could slow the rot. Salt could stretch food. Salt could keep a family alive one more week, maybe two. Braddock leaned down. "You dug those hills. You know what's under them." He tapped Eli's chest with the rifle like a finger. "Tell me where you've been hiding it." Eli stared at the dust between his boots. I could picture the tunnel in his mind, like it was a second heartbeat. Narrow. Cold. Dry as bone. Packed walls where he had stacked white chunks like treasure. The town had laughed at salt for years. "Who needs salt?" they said. "We got fresh game. We got river fish." Now the river ran low. Game had moved on, and the summer heat turned every pantry into a grave. Eli forced his voice steady. "Sheriff, you don't understand what you're asking." Braddock's eyes narrowed. "I understand hunger." Mara took a shaky step forward. "Eli, please." She looked at him like she was trying not to hate him. "If you have any, just say it. My little brother hasn't eaten since yesterday." Eli's chest squeezed. He thought of Nora, his sister, lying on a cot in his shack, breathing thin. If Eli gave up the salt, he'd lose the one thing he could trade for medicine in the next town. If he didn't, people would die. Braddock stood straight and raised his voice, but he didn't call a crowd. He didn't need one. Fear was already here. "Here's the deal, Eli," Braddock said. "You walk me to your stash, or I lock you up and I tear your mine apart piece by piece. And if I find you lied," he paused, "you won't walk out of this town." Eli looked up at Mara again. Her hands shook around that jar. Empty. Useless. Eli's mind raced. The tunnel wasn't just hidden. It was dangerous. The roof had been groaning lately. One wrong step could bring tons of rock down like a hammer from the sky. Eli licked his cracked lip. "If I take you down there," he said slowly, "you do exactly what I say." Braddock smirked. "So you admit it?" Eli didn't answer. He just stood, undusting his knees with shaking hands. Mara let out a breath, like she'd been drowning. Braddock motioned with his rifle. "Move!" Eli started walking toward the mine at the edge of town, the sun blazing like an angry eye. His boots dragged a line in the dirt. Halfway there, Eli felt it. A low tremble in the ground. Not from footsteps. Not from wind. From deep below. Eli froze. Because only one thing made the earth tremble like that. Someone was already inside his hidden tunnel, digging toward the salt. And Eli had no idea who. Eli stopped walking so fast that Sheriff Braddock almost ran into his back. "Why'd you stop?" Braddock barked. Eli didn't answer. He was listening. There it was again. A dull thump, then a scrape, like metal biting stone. Eli's stomach dropped. "Someone's in the mine," he said. Braddock raised the rifle. "You don't play games with me." "I'm not," Eli said. His voice came out lower than he meant. "That sound ain't the wind. Ain't a rock fall either. That's digging." Mara grabbed Braddock's sleeve. "Sheriff, nobody goes in that mine. Everybody knows it's unstable." Eli nodded once. "Because it is." He started walking faster now. Not for the sheriff, for the tunnel. If they reached the salt the wrong way, the support beams wouldn't hold. The whole chamber could collapse, and anyone inside would be buried forever. Braddock followed close behind, boots crunching gravel. "If I find you wasting my time." "You won't," Eli cut in. "You're about to find what you wanted." The mine entrance stood ahead, a dark mouth in the hillside. Cold air pushed out of it, dry and dusty. Eli always felt it in his chest, like the earth was breathing. Mara hesitated outside. "I'm not going in there." "You stay," Braddock told her. Then he shoved Eli forward. "You first." Eli grabbed a lantern from the post and lit it with shaking fingers. The flame danced weak and yellow. Shadows stretched long into the tunnel. "Step where I step," Eli said. "No side paths. No touching the walls." Braddock scoffed. "I'll walk how I want." Eli looked straight at him. "Then you'll die how you want." For the first time, Braddock paused. They went inside. The air changed immediately. Cooler. Thicker. The light from outside faded behind them until only the lantern glow remained. The digging sound came again. Closer now. Braddock heard it this time. His jaw tightened. "Who the hell would be in here?" Eli whispered. "Someone desperate." They moved deeper. Wooden beams held the ceiling. Some bent. Some cracked. Dust sprinkled down with every step. Eli turned down a narrow passage. Braddock grabbed his shoulder. "This ain't the main shaft." "No," Eli said. "This is the one that matters." The passage sloped down. The ground turned pale. White powder coated the rocks. Braddock rubbed it between his fingers. "What is this?" Eli didn't slow. "Salt dust." They rounded a bend. Lantern light spilled into a hidden chamber. And there, on his knees, was Deputy Cole. Young. Maybe 19. Sweat soaked his shirt. A pickaxe slammed into the wall again and again. White chunks lay piled beside him. Cole froze when he saw them. For a moment, nobody spoke. Braddock lowered his rifle in shock. "Cole?" The boy's eyes were wild, sunken, hungry. "I had to," Cole said. His voice cracked. "My ma hasn't eaten. Food keeps going bad. Well, I followed him last week. Saw where he came out of the hill." Eli's chest tightened. "So that's how." Cole lifted a shaking hand. "There's enough here to save everyone, Sheriff. We just gotta break it out fast." Eli stepped forward quickly. "No, stop digging!" Cole frowned. "Why?" A deep cracking sound answered for him. The ceiling groaned. Dust rained down harder. Eli's heart slammed. "Because the chamber ain't stable." Another loud crack split the air. One of the wooden support beams bent with a sharp snap. Braddock's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Eli grabbed his arm. "It means the whole mountain is about to come down." Behind them, the tunnel entrance shuddered, and the only way out was the same narrow path now filling with falling rock. The ceiling split with a loud crack. Dust exploded into the air. The lantern flame shook wild. "Run!" Eli shouted. A beam snapped behind them. Wood broke like dry bones. Deputy Cole dropped the pickaxe. "I can't leave it," he cried, looking at the piles of white salt. "You leave it or you die," Eli yelled. Another chunk of rock slammed down where Cole had been kneeling just seconds before. Braddock grabbed Cole by the collar and shoved him toward the narrow passage. "Move!" The ground trembled hard now. Not small shakes, big ones, the kind that make your heart stop. Eli pushed them ahead. "Single line. Step where I step." Rocks rained from above. One hit Eli's shoulder. Pain shot down his arm, but he didn't slow. The tunnel behind them roared. The chamber collapsed in a deep, angry boom. The sound chased them. They reached the narrow path, but it was half blocked. Stone filled part of the passage. A thick slab leaned against the wall like a door trying to shut. Cole stared at it, panic in his eyes. "We're trapped." "No," Eli said fast. "Help me push." Braddock hesitated. For 1 second, pride fought fear on his face. Then another crack shook the tunnel. Braddock dropped the rifle and pressed his shoulder against the slab. "On 3! 1, Eli said. Dust fell into their eyes. 2. The slab shifted a little. 3. They shoved with everything they had. The stone scraped, moved. Just enough. Eli squeezed through first, then pulled Cole after him. Braddock followed last. The moment they cleared it, the slab slammed down fully behind them, sealing the salt chamber forever. The rest of the tunnel shook, but it held. They stumbled out into the sunlight as the mine roared one last time. A cloud of dust burst from the entrance like smoke from a cannon. Mara screamed and ran toward them. "Eli!" They fell onto the dirt, coughing. Braddock rolled onto his back, staring at the sky. His chest rose hard and fast. Cole lay beside him, crying quietly. Mara knelt next to Eli. "What happened?" Eli looked at the mine. The entrance had partly caved in. Not sealed, but broken enough. "The chamber's gone," Eli said. Braddock pushed himself up slowly. "Gone?" Eli nodded. "The main pile collapsed. Buried." Cole covered his face. "So that's it? We're done?" Eli was quiet for a moment. Then he looked at the hill. "The big chamber's gone," he said slowly. "But I never kept all of it in one place." Braddock frowned. "What do you mean?" Eli stood, wincing at his shoulder. "When I first found the salt vein, I knew this hill was unstable. So I carved smaller storage tunnels, higher up, reinforced them better." Mara blinked. "You mean there's more?" Eli met her eyes. "Yes." Braddock stepped closer. "How much more?" "Enough," Eli said. "To ration. To preserve what food is left. Maybe to trade for supplies from the next town." Silence fell. The sheriff studied him. "And you were going to keep that secret?" Eli didn't look away. "I was going to trade it for medicine for Nora. She's dying, Braddock." Mara's face softened. Cole wiped his eyes. "My ma's dying too." The weight of it hung in the hot air. Eli took a breath. This was the moment, the one that would change everything. "If we use it smart," Eli said, "we can save most of the town, not just one family." Braddock looked at the ruined mine, then at Eli. "You lead it," the sheriff said finally. "You control the salt. Fair shares. No hoarding. No greed." Eli swallowed hard. The tunnel that could have made him rich would now keep the town alive. He nodded once. "Then let's get to work." The sun burned above them, but for the first time in weeks, hope felt stronger than hunger. "What?